You want to see all the teaching that goes on in fifth grade science? Who says no? They're working on their unscrambled sheet, where they have to unscramble the scientific words. I try not to give them the answers right off the back. I try to give them the answers one by one. I let the students go up to the board to write the answers. I try to give everybody a chance to give an answer. Once they finish with their science work, then they could color. This is almost Thanksgiving in 3 weeks. This is the multiple science unscrambled words. They're working on food web, decomposers, producers, bacteria, consumers, food web, food chains, carnivores, herbivores, omnivores. Then I have facts all across the classroom. Try not to do too much. The word war. Then students like to do math. It's from the other teacher. Shout out to the other teacher. They can work on their calendars when they finish, or create their own calendars. They can color superhero worksheets. Once again, working on the food web pyramid. Help the class to work on their behavior. This is the teacher-helper agreement where they will do the best. I don't expect them to listen all the time, but at least try to make a conscientious effort to listen. So, yelling, play fighting, it's self-explanatory. It's for each class, 5 fifth grade classes. More trivias that the students can work on once they finish. I want to try to make this class filled with trivias. I want to try to do 200 trivias. But let me show you something. Let me ask you, what is the pumpkin nickname? Are pumpkins producers, decomposers, or both? How come plants die so easily in the desert? And what you can do too is you can make it into Are You Smarter Than the Fifth Grade? Or you can make it into Jeopardy. And these are the class rules. I always have them in a class every day so they know what I expect of them. So they won't say, oh, we didn't know, you didn't tell us. Here's the food web, because the food web is tricky. You have all those hours, so if the students have a hard time with the hours, they can have the food web list with the numbers. Because the ego is the top consumer. The humans is in the middle. They are saying, why do I have to work out for them? Just so they can get to work, so they don't be off task, off topic. I don't seem as if I'm baby them. I'm not trying to baby them. They're very intelligent, independent young people, but still, you gotta be on top of, because this is a fifth grade class. They mixture of kindergarten, first grade, seventh grade. They mix of all that. You don't know what you're gonna get from the fifth grade. You could get a mature fifth grade or immature fifth grade or fifth graders who's in between. But don't take it personal if they might talk back, if they say they don't care. Just show that you're not bothered with them not caring, that you want them to learn, that you want them to teach you. If they say they don't care, you can say, I'm still gonna teach you. Even though you don't care now, I'm still gonna teach you, I'm still gonna help you, I'm still gonna protect you. So that's why I have to work out for them. They can get to work one at a time, but they take their time. They take too long in doing so, and then turn into a talking match. Another thing is if the fifth graders, if you have the best lesson player and the fifth graders are talking too loud, being out to seats playing or yelling, don't take it personal. See, what they try to do is they're trying to make their drama be bigger than your teaching and learning. Don't let their drama be bigger than your teaching and learning, because if you do, then that's where they control the class, do whatever they want to do, not listen to you, disrespect you, leave the classroom without your permission. So you gotta put your foot down. I know it might be easier said than done, it might be hard, but if you stay at it, be consistent with it, they'll come around. So just tell them what you expect of them, and tell them that you're not going to make the drama bigger than the class. You're not going to make the drama bigger than the teaching and bigger than the learning. And if they have a cursing problem, tell them that you control the cursing. Don't let the cursing control you. You are better than the cursing. Don't let the cursing get the best out of you. You can say that to the students. And if they still say they don't care, say, well, you got to do something better than that. I don't care. It's old news. What is new news? And if they finish with their work quicker than usual, once again, you could get them a coloring sheet or get them an extra worksheet that they can work on. Try to have at least 2 worksheets, but don't just get on the worksheet. You got to go over it with the class, because if you just want them to do the work, it may not work like that in 5th grade or 6th grade. You're going to have to not hold their hand, but you have to guide them in doing the work. Tell them what you expect them. Give them maybe 2 or 3 examples. And if you have a hard time teaching science, what you could do is you could give them facts about the calendars by telling them what events are taking place in November. You have Veterans Day, you have Thanksgiving, Black Friday, you have birthdays, you have daylight savings, you have the end of the market period report card night. Then the students will start giving you facts and start cooperating. So you can mix up the easy with the hard. Because science, I know, could be a tough class to teach, a tough subject to teach. But if the class listens, then you could give them experiments. You could let them do the volcano with the 2 water bottles. You could do the water tornado with the 2 water bottles. You can use the volcanoes. You can use the lava lamps. You do the disappearing penny. You can use the Mentos and the soda. There's so many experiments you could do, but the class has to listen. You can use the bubble machine too, as part of the science experiment, where you blow the bubbles and the fan shoots out all the bubbles. You can do this to calm the class down. The class is getting loud, and they're talking over you. Don't get upset, don't get frustrated, don't get discouraged. You could say, you could either get another disciplinarian to help you, or you could say, instead of fighting with each other, instead of letting it out on each other, let it out on me. But you tell them that there's not going to be any curse words, not going to be any hitting. If you want to, if you're a good sport, you can tell them that you could boil up a paper and throw the paper at me. Then the class might loosen up and laugh. Now, if some of the students throw the paper at you, that's up to you on how you handle it. But please don't get too offended, because you did say that they could release some steam on you. But I know with this grade, the kids don't stop. They like to overplay, they talk loud. But not all the kids are like that. There's a lot of good kids who want to help. And be careful with them being your teacher helper, because then that thinks that they think that they're equal to you. Let them know that that they can help you when they do their work, when they do what they're supposed to do too. And tell them too that if they say they're not going to do this, you can say, that's your problem right there. You're doing what you want to do instead of you're doing what you want to do instead of what you're supposed to do. That's where you got it backwards, and that's why it's extra work and more difficult, and that's how you get in trouble. So you tell the students, when you do what you're supposed to do, then you do what you want to do. When you do what you want to do and not what you're supposed to do, it's more work, more headache, more problems. And as last resort, you can yell a little bit. 8 out of 10. Sometimes you do have to raise your voice, because then they think that you don't do anything, or you're not they won't take you seriously. Occasionally, you can yell. Don't yell at the individual student, but at the overall class. If classes is going in and out of the classroom without your permission, if they are making a messed up line, if they are talking while you're talking, if they're doing what they want to do, and I know it can be frustrating with it if they listen to a particular teacher, but with you they show off, they want to do what they want to do, but try not to take it out on them too. But you want to just raise your voice loud enough so you can get their attention. If that makes sense. Don't be a 10 out of 10, but a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 occasionally. To let them know that you mean business, that you're not playing it anymore. Enough is enough, that they got to knock it off. That won't hurt. Because if you, because they're not going to let up, so you can't let up. You got to let them know that you're the adult, you are the supervisor. They're not the adult, they're the supervisor. Even though they might get mad as an adult and speak loud as an adult, doesn't mean that they're the adult. They're over you. You're over them. Even the students, the smart students, they're all smart. But don't let them outsmart you. They might occasionally outsmart you. You got to take it as a trooper, as a soldier. But for the most part, you're smarter than them. Occasionally, they might be smarter than you. I give them that. But don't let them always outsmart you. If the students try to be smart and act tough, or they say, leave me alone, you say, I'll leave you alone, all right? I'll leave you alone to the dean, I'll leave you alone to the dean's list, I'll leave you alone to the disciplinarian, I'll leave you alone, all right? And once again, if they try to talk rough to you or tough to you, and you can say, are you yelling at me? I know you're not yelling at me like that. I need you to remix your tone. Don't be afraid of saying that. And then you could say, I didn't do anything to you. Nobody did nothing to you. Nobody gonna bother you. You can say, let's reset. Hi, my name is such and such. What's your name? And another thing too is, even if you're dealing with the good students, sometimes the good students might be a little rough around the edges. For example, you answer their question and they may say something along the lines of, that's what I said, or that's what I just said. And they probably didn't mean it, but it was a little harsh, a little rough around the edges, how do you deal with that type of student who's a good student, but sometimes might say it in a rather tough way? Do you let that slide? Not necessarily. What you could do is, if a student says something along the lines of, that's what I just said, if it's 20, 30, 40% harsh, you could say, well, I'm just giving you a friendly reminder. You asked me a question, I'm just giving you a friendly reminder. I just want to make sure it's crystal clear. That was a little harsh, that was a little mean, don't you think? There's nothing wrong with saying how you feel, even with the good students who might occasionally sound a little harsh. Sometimes you have to correct the good students too. So I wouldn't let that slide, but don't nitpick every single thing. But if a couple of their statements or their demands or commands is a little strong, you could call them out on it in a respectful way. And the student might say, that's what I just said, because maybe they thought that you was correcting them. Maybe you thought that you had disagreed with what they were saying. So you can understand where they're coming from by saying, I know you probably didn't mean it, but that was a little strong. I know you probably thought that I was correcting you. It wasn't that. I was just making sure that I was speaking clearly to you. I was just making sure that I was crystal clear, because I speak with a mass, and sometimes the students might get confused with me saying one thing. I say one thing, students get confused with me saying something else. So that's why I was emphasizing. So you could address a student in that matter. Another thing too is no teacher chair, no teacher stool. They have to earn it. If the class is perfect, great. If the class is trying to behave, okay. If the class is loud, talking, always out their seats, always overplaying, no teachers seat. Even for the good students too, because even when you let the good students in the seats, then the other tough students will want to be in the seats, or the busy students. And you could deal with those tough students too. You just have to speak to them one-on-one, and if the students leave the classroom without your permission, you could, I wouldn't say leave that classroom for that one student, but tell them that, you sure you want to leave the class now? This is your last chance. I don't want to have to write you up. I don't want to have to phone or parent or anything. This is your last chance. So you said the decision is yours if the student is leaving the classroom because the class is not listening. And that's not a reflection of you. And they'll, let's say, and make you think that you're a bad teacher, that you don't know how to control class. The next thing he'll make you think is that you can't control the class, you can't teach a class, and might make you want to give up on the students and quit. Please don't quit, even with the rough students or a rough class. They need you. Even though they might give you a hard time, they're looking for you to show them the right things to do. Even though they might not say it, but they do look up to you more than you know. When you're gone for a while, they'll start missing you. So don't get discouraged. Don't fret. The breakthrough is around the corner. Your milestones are around the corner. And look at it this way: you're not better than the other teachers, but tell them, are you the worst at disciplining a class or controlling class? If the answer is no, that means you have potential. They wouldn't keep you here this long to teach a class if they didn't think you can handle it. You can handle it. Even if they see the students just give you a run for the money, give you a hard time, you can still handle them. If the students are acting up, you can say, do I have to make a phone call? Do I have to get a report? Do I have to get the dean? Do I have to get the disciplinarian? Because I will. We're not doing what we want to do. We're not being out of our seats. We're not jumping on tables. We're not cursing. We're not throwing things at each other. It's a good class. Just as you know how to be angels with the other teacher, you're gonna work on being angels with me. We're gonna stop this pattern. We're gonna stop this cycle. It's gonna stop. And one more thing before I let you go. A creative way you could conduct your science class is you could let the students have a food web hangman party where you give students pictures of an animal or stickers of an animal. They stick it on the right category, similar to a matching game. You could make it fun. You could let order class participate and see how that goes. I think that would be an interesting way to teach about the food web and the food chain.